Said to me, one day you wake up at 50 and find out suddenly that you have hypertension. Wow, have we found that out to be true. But what if that could be prevented? What if the secret to staying sharp and mobile as we age isn't a pill or a miracle cure, but a choice we make right now? Most people wait for a wake-up call to start caring about their health. But the truth is, our future selves are being built by what we do today. There is absolutely no time like the present to change our trajectory and make the most of our well-being. So let's get started. In today's video, we'll talk about the essential shifts we need to make to ensure that our 50s, 60s, and beyond are the best they can be. I'm Jimmy, and we're getting out. Getting out of the rat race, getting out with our friends and family, getting outside to travel and explore, finally do all the things we've been putting off. On this channel, we'll seek to inspire you, get you thinking about what's possible, and start living the life you've been dreaming about. Been so many things I've been putting off until retirement. I dream about spending days wandering through the redwoods, wandering through the national parks, bicycling cross country, hiking the Appalachian Trail again. It's a big world, and I look forward to seeing it all. I've already done a bunch of things in weekend warrior mode. I've climbed Mount Washington in northeastern United States, Mount Sinai in Egypt, Kilimanjaro in Tanzania, seen the Alps and Petra, the Holy Land, the Serengeti, and spent an hour with the gorillas in the mist. Today, I'll be sharing the 5 habits that we can do to maximize our health and feel vital for decades to come. A quick disclaimer, this video is for entertainment purposes only. The information shared here is based on personal experience, should not be taken as medical advice. Consult with a qualified healthcare provider before making any changes to your diet, starting a new exercise program, etc. So before we go too far, let's just take a second and recognize that we all have a genetic makeup, and that plays a huge role in our health. If our parents, grandparents had longevity, we've got that working for us. But we really can't do much about our genetics, and we have to kind of live with what we've inherited. But at the same time, what we can do, we should do, we must do. And that's all I'm encouraging you to do today. So let's maximize what we've got by prioritizing our well-being. Number one question was, did I smoke? Thank goodness no. We all know that cigarettes are poison. The single biggest thing anyone can do to improve their health is quit. There's a lot of programs out there, and today's the day to investigate those and take advantage of them. The second question I got was, how well was I sleeping? And I never slept great, and they sent me in for a test for sleep apnea, which fortunately was not an issue. They asked me how active I was on a regular basis. They looked at my weight, and they've never been happy with my BMI. I'm a big guy, and to get to the BMI they want me to get to, I'd have to go back to being 15 years old, and that's probably not going to happen. I'm always off the charts. Next, they asked me about alcohol consumption, and they only wanted about 2 drinks maximum per week, which is challenging. And then they also asked how much caffeine I was drinking. And what they recommended and what they're looking for is 2 cups a week. Now to me, they're saying a cup this big. I was asking them, could I do a cup this big? And of course, the answer was no. A cup's a cup as per your coffee maker. So that's pretty tight. Let's talk about sleep. They say that sleep is as important as eating right. If you're like me, you take sleep and rest in general for granted. I'm a bad sleeper. I've overlooked it as a major part of my health and well-being makeup. So I just encourage you to be smarter than me and invest in good sleep. We finally went out and bought a really good mattress and sleep system, and that has made a big difference. And we have apps now that track our sleeping. At the same time, there's things we can do like getting to bed earlier and on a regular schedule. They say that's really good for you. Just getting away from our screens and turning off our phone earlier, not looking at it right before bed. I drink much less fluid from dinner time on than I used to, just because I don't want to be up in the middle of the night. They say that poor sleep will double our risk of health problems. That's pretty significant. And they're recommending 8 hours a night. Do the best you can. Our bodies also need time off to decompress. Our bodies were made to have 1 day off a week. And I think it's really important to do that. There may be seasons where we can't, but as a general rule, I think we absolutely need that. And we know that stress is a killer too. Next, let's talk about nutrition. Well, instead, let's talk about my nemesis, ice cream. I love ice cream. It's nature's perfect food. I'm a connoisseur. I've often said that I've been conducting a tour of the world looking for the world's most perfect milkshake. I've done a lot of bonding with friends and strangers over ice cream. I sat on a park bench once in the middle of a long bike ride, and the lady next to me was eating an ice cream cone. I said, "Where'd you get that?" And she said, "Oh, there's a place just around the corner." And she said that she was an ice creamaholic. And boy, did we have a nice little chat as we sat there. So I'm not the only one, but I gain weight if I even see ice cream. I don't have to touch it, eat it. I just walk past it. I will gain at least a pound. So, and that's really the problem for us all out there, is there's just too much good stuff around. A lot of it's tons of calories, and a lot of it's really so processed that it's absolutely junk. Keeping the weight off for me is a daily struggle. But I think that if we're going to be successful in our health, and as we look at that big picture of really wanting to be healthy and active for the rest of our lives, we have to decide now what really matters. So let's make a strict deal with ourselves. I'm always making deals with myself to try to get things done. And the deal that I've made with myself is I can have ice cream, but only if it's a day where I'm going to be extremely active. I'm talking hours and hours of activity. And I know I'm going to be burning through the calories, and I know I need to fuel my body. So think about that, and think about how you can limit the junk in your life and where your temptations lie. So otherwise, eating for me means on a typical day, I eat very small portions. I eat lean proteins, leafy greens, a lot of vegetables, no sugar, low carbs, really try to cut back on everything. I'm not afraid of fat. I eat fat, but at the same time, I limit the amount of fat I'm eating too, because it's twice as much calories as a gram of anything else. It's absolutely insane how much less food I eat now than in my 20s. My calorie intake has to shrink drastically if I'm going to lose any weight at all. They say our bodies are much less efficient as we get older at processing nutrients. But at the same time, we need good nutrients to protect our bone density and our muscle mass and just keep everything moving, honestly. The good news for me is that since Christmas, I've been able to lose 27 pounds. I've been on a strict diet. And another video, I'll talk about that and share what I've been doing and what's working for me. I started by talking to my doctors about what to do, and I even went to a nutritionist for them to give me a program that was custom tailored to me and my body. I have to tell you, they didn't encourage ice cream at all, but they said I didn't have to forbid it, you know. I've got the whole ice cream weakness thing throwing me off here every day. Next, let's be keeping active. So I do pretty well at this now, but let's be real. I'll never have the body of a 30-year-old again. When I was in my 30s and 40s, I let myself go. I was working a high-stress desk job, and I gained a bunch of weight. I started feeling terrible, having a lot of heartburn. I was, crunching Tums regularly. Got some migraines. Back was killing me. My blood pressure was through the roof, and I was even becoming pre-diabetic. Not a great place to be. I kept a job, although I did make some changes. But my doctor helped me find changes to diet, And I started going on short walks every night after work. Just a little bit, get some fresh air. The whole idea was to try to de-stress from the long, stressful day. And I had small children at the time, so it wasn't easy, and it was a big sacrifice for my wife to let me go for 15 or 20 minutes, you know. But as the kids got older, we started going on longer walks. And then we joined a gym, a local YMCA, and started going there regularly. And what was really cool is that as I created that disciplined routine, they all started joining me. It got to the point we were all getting up at 5 in the morning to go to the gym before our school days and work days. And the most important thing, of course, is that I stuck with it. And I started losing weight, and I started feeling good again. And I actually got to the point where I was feeling strong again. So if I can do it, you guys absolutely can. The key secret I learned out of this, and I think it could really benefit people, is that I learned to always start gradually. Job one in any kind of positive change that we make to build those positive habits that come so hard versus the bad habits that we just fall into naturally, is to build a consistent new routine. And we have to start slowly with that. We don't want to go like most people and exercise so much if we start a new exercise program that we end up just almost paralyzed with pain because of all the lactic acid buildup in our muscles. You know, when we start a new eating program, we don't have to change everything cold turkey. We can start making positive fixes to things little by little. And that's exactly what I ended up doing. And that really ended up being 1 to 2 small changes a week. And I just kept building, because the most important thing is that we keep going. We keep moving forward in positive ways, and we keep stoking that motivation. And ideally, that's what we're doing here for you at Getting Out. I'm not saying I got it all figured out on the diet side here, but the hardest part of exercising for me is starting when I'm just not feeling like it. Everybody's going to have a time when they're unmotivated. Maybe you didn't sleep good. Maybe you've had a bad start to your day, and you just can't face a full workout, whether that's early in the day or late in the day, whenever it works for you. As I said, I like to make deals with myself, and the deal that I make with myself is that I know that if I don't do my back exercises, I'm going to be stiff. It does a pretty good job of realigning my spine. It takes away a lot of my pain. It's not perfect, but it makes a big difference. And if I don't do it, I know I'm going to pay for it later. So what I'll do is I'll just make sure to go down and spend the 4 or 5 minutes perhaps that it takes to do back exercises. And then, well, I'm down there and I start thinking, why don't I just do some stretching? Because I'm getting older and I spend about half of my routine, any kind of exercise, stretching. So let's take some time and I start just doing a couple stretches. The most important ones that benefit me the most ones that are going to make the biggest difference in my day and the way I'm going to feel tomorrow in particular. And so I start stretching a little bit, and then I can usually say, well, what if I just finish this stretching regimen? I'll just kind of run through all my stretches, and that'll be good for me, right? It'll loosen me up and go from there. Well, till I do that, if I've got time, then maybe I'll say, what am I supposed to be doing today on the exercise routine? And I'll jump in and just try to do one thing. Now, most days I can talk myself into doing the whole routine that way. But if I don't, it's not that big a deal, because what is a big deal is about being consistent. And I went down there and I was consistent. I went through my routine and at least I did the most important things that were going to make the biggest difference in the way I feel. And as long as it doesn't become that every day is shortcutting the process, you're going to be okay. Ultimately, we just want our bodies not to limit the way we want to live the rest of our lives. We don't want to wake up feeling terrible if there's a way for us to avoid it. We don't want to be at the point where we want to do something that's really important to us, but we just can't anymore. So here I am at 59 years old. I'm blessed, knock wood, to not take any medications at this point. I can hike or kayak or bicycle all day long. I built that up little by little, so it wasn't a quick process. And those are the things I enjoy doing. They're not even exercise to me. They're just me going out and living a day worth living. What's that mean to you? What's it mean to you to live a day worth living? And what do you want to make sure your health doesn't prevent you from doing? I said it took me years to get there, and I did it one baby step at a time. Last today, we'll talk about nurturing our mind and our souls. To have great days, we need unclouded minds and thoughts, and we need contented spirits within us. If we can get those things, our life is rocking. So we have a great reason to get up in the morning. Goes a long way. I think that is the ultimate longevity hack. And it helps if we can find people to share our lives with whose company we enjoy and who give us pleasure. None of us need any more drama in our lives. You know, if staying socially active, especially if we retire and pull out of that workforce, we want to keep just interacting with people. Don't let it be afraid. Doctors are telling us it's as critical as exercise. Another good thing for us to do is to try something new, change up that routine to keep our minds sharp. It's always good to challenge our brain with novel, new things. Maybe doing a puzzle that we haven't done before, maybe trying to figure out that new computer app. How about starting a YouTube business? There's one for you. But it's always good to have time also, especially as we move into retirement, to have more time to reconnect with our hobbies. There's probably things that we put aside somewhere along the way and we thought, why did I do that? They say that even volunteering 2 hours a week can make a significant positive influence to our health and our mental outlook. Good stuff. It makes a big difference in our communities too. Health as we age isn't about perfection or recapturing our youth. It's about continued progress and maximizing what we've already got. Carpe diem, I say. What change are you going to make today? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, hit that like and subscribe button. Life's an adventure. Let's be living it. See you in the next video.